wind howled across the prairie as Samuel Carter leaned against the post of his weathered ranch. The land stretched endlessly before him, but so did his troubles. A widower at only 35, he had lost his wife to fever 2 winters past. Now the county law demanded he have a wife by his side to keep the property legally secure, or risk losing everything to rival ranchers waiting like wolves. The loneliness of the house gnawed at him, but worse was the idea of strangers claiming the soil he had bled and sweat for all his life. In town, whispers followed him like dust. "Poor Samuel," the shopkeeper's wife muttered. "A strong ranch, but no woman to hold it." Mail-order brides had been claimed, widows had been remarried, and young girls promised to others. His heart was too tired to love again, yet desperation clung to him. Posters on the saloon wall read, "Land requires family ownership by spring," signed by Judge Hawkins. Samuel knew what it meant. He had only months left. He needed a wife not for affection but to anchor his claim. Yet fate had left him with one unlikely choice. Her name was Clara Jones. She was no blushing bride nor respected widow. Rumor called her trouble, an outcast. Once married, her husband had vanished into the gold camps, leaving her broken and shamed. She lived on the edge of town, sewing to survive, mocked by churchwomen and ignored by all. Samuel had seen her once, eyes weary but proud, carrying a bucket from the well as boys jeered. The memory haunted him. She was strong, hardened by whispers, yet fragile in her loneliness. Could she be the one to save his ranch, and perhaps something in him too? Their meeting came on a wind-bitten morning in the town square. Samuel stood tall, hat in hand, while Clara hesitated, clutching a shawl. He wasted no words. "I need a wife," he said plainly. Her face flushed, but she didn't look away. "And you reckon I'm the only one left desperate enough?" she asked with a wry smile. Samuel didn't flinch. "Not desperate, strong, and I need strength more than anything." Silence stretched between them until Clara finally nodded. She had been overlooked too long. Perhaps this was her chance. Together they struck a bargain of survival. Their wedding was small, witnessed only by the preacher, the blacksmith, and 2 curious townsfolk who whispered behind gloved hands. Clara wore a simple blue dress, her hair pinned carefully, though her hands trembled. Samuel gave her his late wife's ring, a silver band dulled by years of work. When the words were spoken, she became his wife, not out of love, but necessity. Yet as they rode back to the ranch, Clara clung nervously to his waist on horseback. Samuel felt the warmth of her presence, and for the first time in years, the silence didn't ache. Life on the ranch was harsh but steady. Clara proved herself quickly, rising before dawn to help with chores, tending chickens, and mending fences alongside Samuel. The hands on the ranch respected her grit. She worked harder than any had expected, yet whispers from town followed her like a storm cloud. The shamed woman, not fit for a rancher's wife. Samuel ignored them, though inside he burned. He had chosen Clara not from pity, but from the fire in her eyes, a flame that even scorn couldn't smother. Each day they forged an uneasy bond built from necessity. One evening, after long hours branding cattle, Samuel found Clara sitting on the porch, sewing by lantern light. Her face glowed against the dark, soft and serene. "You work harder than I deserve," he said quietly. Clara looked up, startled by his kindness. "I work so they won't say I'm useless," she replied. Samuel frowned, removing his hat. "Let them talk. This land doesn't listen to gossip, it listens to grit, and you have more than anyone I've known." Her hands stilled, and for the first time Clara smiled. A real smile, breaking years of silence and shame. Trouble came as spring neared. A rival rancher, Henry Lawson, rode in with 3 men, claiming Samuel's land was no longer his to hold. "A sham marriage won't fool the judge," Lawson sneered. Samuel stood firm, rifle in hand, but Clara surprised them all. She stepped forward, chin high, declaring, "I am his wife, and I'll prove it by standing beside him through whatever comes." Her courage silenced Lawson's laughter. Samuel's chest swelled with pride, though he spoke no words. That night, under the stars, he realized Clara was no longer just his safeguard. She was his partner. As weeks passed, their bond deepened. Clara transformed the ranch house into a home, her laughter returning like spring rains. Samuel found himself drawn to her voice, the gentle way she comforted injured calves or hummed by the fire. Slowly, grief for his late wife gave way to something unexpected, a fragile hope. Clara, too, discovered in Samuel not just a provider, but a man of honor. The walls she had built around her heart cracked. One evening, when Samuel brushed a stray lock of hair from her face, she whispered, "Maybe this marriage wasn't just necessity after all." By summer's end, the judge rode out to inspect Samuel's claim. He found Clara tending the garden, Samuel working the fields, and children from neighboring farms running about the yard, laughing as Clara handed them bread. The sight was undeniable. This was no sham. It was a family in the making. With a firm nod, the judge signed the paper, securing Samuel's ranch for generations to come. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, Samuel turned to Clara. "I needed a wife to save my land," he said softly, "but instead, I found the woman who saved me."